Hello there and welcome to Rap Party Season 3, The Pizza Project. We're going to be watching Keep the Change, which was Season 3's short film. With me today are some of the people who were involved in the movie. We've got Mr. Robert Carr here on my left.
Hello.
And we've got Mr. Liam R. Angus, the star of the show, on my right. Alright guys, let's get started. Hit play. Let's do this. Right, I've got some questions to ask you guys to begin with.
Okay.
So we'll just have a run through. Liam, you were saying this is the first time you're actually watching the movie?
It's the first time since I came out of hospital. Because I think we released it on the day I went into hospital with crushing abdominal pains.
So you almost died?
Yes. My appendix burst and went gangrenous, and then my lungs collapsed.
Oh wow. So
Well, that wasn't anything to do with the film, mind. That was awful.
would you think that maybe this film is a jinx on you now?
No?
Oh good. Right, let's have a look. I've got some nice prepared questions here and then we'll just go a bit random. A bit of info on the film. So Keep the Change was written as an excuse to use a smoke machine. It began as one episode and then we eventually made it into a short film as well as an entire season behind it. It's roughly 7 minutes long, was shot over the span of 3 nights, and it cost us just less than £100 to make, not including equipment or software which we previously owned. Right, so it's got a couple of firsts in terms of it's the first time we used a smoke machine, it's the first time we shot at night, it's the first time we ever used the Sony A7S for a short film. We don't like to get bogged down by equipment, but Robert, A7S, yay or nay?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. So Keep the Change follows Stu as he attempts to deliver a pizza which determines his employment. Unfortunately, there are a few obstacles in his way. Liam, I've got a question for you. You played Stu. Could you speak a little bit about your thoughts on the character and maybe a few on the film?
I think Stu's sort of enthusiastic character. He wants to do the best, but I think there's an element of like a relaxed sort of persona about him until he gets to a point where he's thinking, first I might lose my job here, and he's just looking after his kid and his family. So
yeah. Good one. I've got one for you as well. Rob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's always nice to look back on a film and see things sticking out that you'd like to change. Is there anything now that it's finished you would want to alter or differ?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would like to put more into the light, mainly the colour, especially with the shot that's coming up. I think that was like a standard for what it should have completely looked like. So this one here, can I pause it? Oh, I'll pause it when it goes back to that.
There you go.
I just say I look like my Uncle Barry in this film. That's all I needed to say.
Can we get a picture of your Uncle Barry to pop on?
Just Google Mr. Bean.
Okay. Right. So you're saying about the lights?
I really like this shot, just because I love the blue light in the background and obviously the yellow light in the foreground. But I think there needs to be more. If throughout the film, I think it needs to be more of that contrast. So more blue, more yellow, so more of the colour gels that we used. And then there's a few certain shots that I would probably like to change, but overall I was really happy with the result.
So you're saying it could be a little more stylistic, like it's not quite standard, but it could go further.
Yeah, I think it's, we could push this a lot further, more towards drive in a way, but I should have thought about it a little bit more, but now I've done it, I'm like, yeah, I know what to do next time, which is good.
Yeah. Do you want to hit play?
Yeah.
So since finishing the film, myself and Rob have discussed further development of the universe and the character of Stu. We wanted to be recruited as a top secret package delivery man for a government as the secret agent, using the tagline, when all else fails, he will deliver. Rob, do you care to elaborate on the possible expansion of what we are now calling the Pizzaverse?
Well, Robbie's Pizza, which features in this, who Liam's character works for, that's going to feature in every film we make, whether directly, indirectly. Sometimes you might just see like the pizza box. You never know. Liam might just pop in the background. I've personally wrote a script where this is set 2 years prior to the character getting the job at Robbie's Pizza. It's kind of like it's just his first few months, and obviously in this he's been there for about 2 years. So we definitely want to bring this character back into other films, but also the pizza universe. So,
right. Liam, I've got a question for you. First of all, I like the shoes. By the way, I used to have red Converse when I was a bit younger, and I got jam all over them because I kicked my donuts after I got my results for my GCSEs when I got all Fs.
Why did you kick your donuts?
Because I was really angry. I was really upset. Went to Greg's, bought a 4-pack, and when I got home, I just burst. And so did the packet.
So is the question about me Converse?
Oh no, I just noticed them there. Here's a question for you.
Wearing Converse in this film as well.
Oh, well, there you go. So it all ties in. So working with a character who's not quite as stern as maybe some of your other roles. I know you have a history of comedy. If you'd like to maybe talk about the role in that sense.
My comedy is really on stage. Really, I've never done any comedy on film before, which is actually surprising because I think if I think of myself, I thought I would have done a bit more. It's the comedy that I did. I was sort of like I toured around the northeast and did like sketches and things like that, and but I don't really know why I wanted to do. But I think it's because people always just assumed in college and university that I was just going to do comedy. So I think I kind of wanted to prove to them and prove to myself that I could do serious. But now this is sort of going back a little bit, and not in a career wise or anything like that, but just I don't know, maybe a bit more in my comfort zone in a way. Is that a bad thing to say? It's not a really nice thing to say when you're.
I think with this role as well, I think there is a little bit of both. So I think it brings the both sides of you out.
I agree.
When we wrote the characters, it was like, well, you're playing this, just because we've seen the comedy side and we know what you like, but you can do a series. And this wasn't necessarily written as a comedy, but I think some of the actions that you did, which we'll obviously pause on later, it made it comical in a good way. For example, when you're running and certain little things. When you walked into this place, funny enough, it's just the little mannerisms when you're jumping when the light turns on, which I really like.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, because the Stu himself was just a name on a script until you put that jumper on and started running around like a drunken cowboy.
Well, I did have a Nando's that night, and I remember it nearly killing us, chasing after a Peugeot 105. I just don't understand why I decided to have the biggest meal possible.
Is there any more questions? And then we'll go on. If not, we can go into like.
One was for Ed, but unfortunately Ed can't be here.
That's fine. So what we'll do is we'll go through, like, we'll do it by scenes, so we can pause at different points. So this kind of like beginning montage was all about like getting ready, but getting straight into the universe, and seeing that he's a pizza delivery driver.
Yeah, with the film only being 7-ish minutes long, we wanted to try and tell as much of the sort of pre-story in the first few shots as we could. It's probably why there's so many shots doing so many different things.
Then we might as well talk about this scene. We've got a video obviously talking about it, that it's how we did it, but you're not actually driving there. And we picked these 3 songs that were very different, but I think you delivered them pretty well in singing them. I mean, you didn't know all the words, but that really worked.
I was going to generally learn the words, but I thought, who learns the words to songs? Yeah. Especially when you're by yourself. If you just put them on the radio, you might as well just have a little laugh with them. Yeah. I do that with Jason Derulo, and he comes on the radio. But then again, I know all the words.
Because I suppose most of the time you know some of them and you say and then you get back into the chorus and then you know the words. I really like this scene. I think it works so well, and I'm glad we picked 3 songs.
And they're quite different songs.
Yeah.
Well. But the 3 very cheesy sound.
Yeah, but there's the last one. Like I like this one just the way you're acting. There's so much of this as well that we've got that we haven't used, which is good. But then this last song, the best is yet to come. It was just so strange that this is the song at the very end, and he breaks down, and it's my mum actually picked up on it. That
Let's pretend that was deliberate.
yeah, which it wasn't really. It was just like we heard the song, and then the best is yet to come, and then he breaks down. It's kind of he's like, yes, nothing's gone wrong in a while, and then something does. So
I can sing a little bit. I just didn't want to look like I was a trained singer in this, just so everyone knows.
You've done very well not being able to sing there.
Just don't help it with the camera.
Oh, sorry. We can zoom that in.
I want Andrew Lloyd Webber to see this.
So then it breaks down, and then we go to. This is all in my garage, and we go to outside, which was the second night, I believe. And just as we did the shot, the police turned up, which was a nightmare. But we had actually more coverage of this as well. So we had the reverse, which we do use, and then we had a side angle. But this was class, this angle, and just the way he reacted to it.
We even have inserts of it was almost. We did it just on the night. It wasn't rehearsed or anything. It was Liam using the dipstick and not knowing what was going on. And then I remember one bit you placed it in, but it didn't come in quite much, and it just twanged like this and went on for about 30 seconds.
And all that it could have gone in. It was just we had to keep it tight, and we needed to get to this part, which I really like the shot.
I think this is one of the reasons why we want to expand this character specifically.
Mm-hmm.
When we were making this film, it was just an excuse to make to do something with the smoke machine, and then this happened, and then as soon as Liam became the character and put the cap and the jumper on, it's just getting almost a lust for it in a sense, because it's using a resource that we didn't think existed until after Liam really became the character.
I really like that line as well, the way you deliver that. I've got kids, you can't, because I'm on the other end of that phone, if you didn't know. But I really like that line, just the way it's in the way it sat down and delivered it.
Robbie?
And then this, you really like we picked this take in particular, it's because your cap hits the smiley face, which I really like.
This part of the film, it's what I thought of is that film 50-50. Have you seen it before? Do you know when I'm not sure, I can't remember specifically what happens, but I think if he gets told he's got cancer, or I know I'm bringing this into it, but that's what I wanted to make it sort of a dramatic moment to sort of stop the audience a little bit, and I kind of wanted to put me foot down on the floor a little bit, and that's because I could have done it in several different ways, but I kind of just try to play it in a way that I was really just genuinely really frustrated.
No, I really like the same, because the pace of the film at the beginning is really fast, and then you break down, you don't know what's going on, and it's just okay, your realization, especially this shot here, you're realizing what the stakes are. We're pushing in, and then you just, when you look up, you realise, and then we go on to, which I think I still laugh at it now.
It's all peaks and troughs, this.
Yeah, it is.
Compared to some of the other stuff, it's really going from maximum speed all the way down to almost a standstill.
Which I quite like about it.
Yeah,
I suppose it just keeps the audience sort of interested. Because if it's full pace all the time, people are just gonna switch off, or it's too slow.
Yeah. Which I feel like even stuff we've done in the past, it can be like that, and I like how we do move, especially scenes and the pacing and how the music works, and then just this next shot. When we thought of this, it was I knew it was going to be funny, but when you started running behind the car after you had the Nando's, we made you do it about 4 times. it's class. You know, you just go for it, and it's just the way you're running. It is, and just trying to figure out where you're going. And the
We actually had some issues with this scene in writing because we wanted to do it on a country lane with no street lights at all. We're thinking we've got an A7S, that's fine. We'll just rack the ISO up, and you know, as much as people like to say, "Oh yeah, it's a total night vision camera," it still looked like absolute crap, and it just didn't go right.
You still need light into it, and I think the phone light come into this, and I think where we shot that worked anyway because you know there's not too many buildings around, but yeah, it worked. And then we can go into kind of this transition, which you know, when I pitched the idea, I says we've got to have them traveling, but we just didn't want to do it like generic, you know, and seeing 3 different shots, and he just has to get there because traveling's boring. You don't need to see him. So I think the way this worked out was really well.
Yeah.
And I think when you did the effect on it, I was just like perfect. And then we just
if it was longer, you know, if it was maybe like a 23-minute pilot episode, there would probably be more like fancy graphics like that in it. The only thing I don't like about that graphic is that it's the only one, so it sticks out. I do like the concept of it. It's really cool, and it's definitely more interesting than just run along the screen 4 or 5 times, or you know, like what you see in most movies. But we definitely wanted to show the travelling. We didn't want to skip it.
I really wanted to do some parkour.
We'll get that in the next one.
Just jumping off buildings and whatnot.
Well, he's going to be a pizza delivery driver that goes all over the world, and he is the deliverer.
Have we spoke to you about that concept?
So
No.
So Stu, this whole thing is actually a test to see whether he can deliver something out of anything. You know, he will go to the nth degree to make sure that this is even something as simple as a pizza is going to get delivered.
And that's why there's no one here in this space. Obviously, this is the space where we filmed that last scene, and the scene after that would be the person walking in telling you.
I'm excited. Genuinely really excited.
So Stu becomes the deliverer, and
So think of slash between Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible and
I suppose Mr. Bean in a sense.
yeah.
If a non-alien version of Mr. Bean was recruited to deliver top secret sensitive information around the world.
So Johnny English.
Oh yeah. Oh, shit.
Oh, I just scrap the idea.
Right.
But no, he's definitely featuring in the film that I've wrote, which is he turns up obviously with pizzas and stuff, and tries to give advice, and that's where he actually meets his girlfriend, who's he's got the child with in this. You see how he meets her, but yeah, and then just other characters. So when we do, which has got one, you might be actually working in the pizza shop, you know, there, and I think I'll be there at one point because I'm the owner. So you know, we definitely want to add the character. But yeah, Johnny English. You didn't realise. Yeah, this is the scene that I probably wasn't as happy with.
This was the first thing we shot.
Yeah, I think it was the sky though, because when we tested it, it was clear, so it was a lot darker, but it was actually cloudy this night. So the light pollution was bouncing off the clouds and back down. So I couldn't get the exposure right. I think I know how to do it now, but it was just one of those things.
We did wait around a lot long.
Yeah,
a little while for that. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get for the sun to go down.
It was just because the light was still bouncing off the clouds just from the street lights, which is something I never thought of. So there's a lesson learned. And then we got this pretty much done. The BTS.
Other than the lights, Rob, did you like this scene? The bit.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it works. We had a scene after this that we cut out the script of you going in the building up the stairs, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I think it was just because it was the first thing that we shot, and I wasn't in the swing of things yet.
And it was raining.
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, this shot alone, I love the BTS that Opie, she's not here, but Opie captured, because obviously just before this you've been running, but we did this scene like well after that, and I love, because I was looking straight at this camera, just at the shot, and then you coming into frame. I didn't see what you were doing, and in the BTS, you're actually doing a little run around, and then you just run in to the steps, and then just walk up the steps, but you're out of breath. And I didn't see that on the night, and then when I seen the BTS, I was like, yeah, we didn't tell you to do that, but it's exactly what the character needed, because you would have been out of breath at this point.
I am De Niro.
Should we hit play? I just need to address to Mr. Adam Opie. Thank you very much, Mr. Adam Opie. You are an absolute legend, and at 17 years old, you are literally going to be the next Spielberg. Also, you still have your 5 pints to claim, so hurry up, because they expire at the end of the year.
So this scene, which is literally in front of us right now, where it was filmed, we're also like, you said, do I see anything when I come in? And we didn't have anything in the script. And as you can hear, like, hello? And it just worked so well. It did. And then your reaction to this, when this light comes on, again, we didn't think about anything like that. It was just that little jump like that. And then
It felt a little unnatural to walk into someone's house and not mention that I was walking in.
Yeah.
So I think I did it once or twice, not say anything, but it felt like it was just coming out naturally. So I asked.
No, I'm glad you did, because I think it worked really well. And then this, like, just looking around, there's the door behind you. Yeah, and I think just looking around, it just kind of like helps, because you don't know where you are really in the space. So
It's suspicious. It's the dark room. The lights just popped on. Who's playing a prank? Who's behind there? Who's gonna come round and
Chinya.
Chinya?
And then I think, originally, I think when we're talking about this, it was this scene when we're writing, it was like, oh, he's being watched on CCTV, it's a TV show that's pranking him, but so I think your reaction there worked to that.
He thought he was in an episode of Punk'd.
Yeah. So, which I really like. And this scene we actually set up months and months before this shot. And I think it's, I love this. This is lighting wise. It's one of the best things I've done personally. And then
I agree.
And then just because it looks good, and the idea behind this was always, the inspiration was Indiana Jones at the beginning, when he has to take the object and puts the bag of sand on, and then it's just the build up of you taking it out, which I love. But again, it's just those little touches. So when you put the pizza box down, and then just, you're still unsure at this point, and then you just hold it and then just slowly take it away, and that worked really well. And I think obviously with the music and everything in there, it's just like, oh, it's down, and it's like, it's where's nothing's happened, and it's fine, and I really like that about it. So
I just try to build up the tension. Obviously, you play music, you put music on the top, but I'm just trying to play it as it is. So I'm as if it was an audience watching in a way. So I'm building up the tension by doing that, and I think I take the money away really quickly, and it kind of works. I don't know if the music kind of stops a little bit, and it kind of like
I really like how you grab it.
Eases the thing on. Oh, there's no prank here. This is what's happening.
Which I like. I really like that take. Just that little. It works really well, and you just like, oh, nothing's happening. And then this is where the film gets a little bit silly.
This was when you totally realised that we had absolutely no idea how it was going to end, and we just thought, right, let's make it almost as if he's being abducted by aliens, but the aliens are inside a pizza box.
I really like the shot as well. I like how the light comes up. We had to figure that out. Do you want to talk about this bit? Because there's a few VFX in there. I mean, there's an episode on it. But
yeah, there's
Tarantino, isn't it? He does this on, what was it, on
Pulp
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, putting lights inside the... inside the briefcase.
That's what it is, really.
I think the best thing that helped this was the smoke inside the pizza box. So we injected a little bit inside, just a tiny bit, just a little splutter, before we opened it, and then obviously because it's opening up, it's like sucking it in, and then obviously with the orange light and then the blue light above, it just lights it in two different ways, and then it just looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I had to composite the paint the light out, which is actually inside the box, because you could just see it a tiny bit, but there's an episode on that. It's the VFX and Keep the Change, and I just talk about that for about 60 seconds.
Yeah, I really like this, and then it's kind of like the reaction to the pizza box opening, and then we go to this next shot, and it's just, what is going on? Hungry? And then it ends, and we were like, well, what do we do now? Well, you've been travelling a while, haven't you? Pretty hungry. So we ended it with the credits.
Bear in mind, I don't like pizza.
Which was something we didn't know about until you were just about to eat it.
Yeah.
You complained about a shepherd's pie that had lots of cheese in.
It was horrible, but I acted like I liked it.
And that's all
That was really impressive. That was...
Wow. That was a
Wow.
good pizza. We had it.
Yeah,
Cool.
I ate your crust. I was clamming.
So yeah, it doesn't really end. It's a bit silly at the end, but I think the build up and the different ways we built up the tension, I think it worked really well, and the peaks and troughs.
Have you thought of an alternative ending?
No, I'm happy
I'm
with.
fairly sure I came up with that idea, so we made it. And you didn't even know it was going to end. And I come up with that bit,
Yeah, you did actually. You did. Yeah, so we didn't know.
so I made myself eat the pizza. So it wasn't really your fault.
Yeah, it was all your fault. And then, if you want to explain the end, Liam, what you did.
Oh, it's just me a little tribute to Norman Wisdom. Just put a little trip in. Yep. Just wanted to do it. I don't think anyone noticed but myself.
So that's the film. So now you've watched it since you nearly died, Liam. What do you think?
It was, for a number of reasons, I really enjoyed working on the film. Because, like you said, I think it was you didn't. You haven't filmed at night. I haven't filmed at night before either. It's been a while. I haven't filmed for comedy either. And when you're acting with comedy in front of an audience, you're getting it back straight away. But when you're with a camera on your face, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
You only really know when you're doing something right is when the crows start laughing and you have to do the scene again.
This scene, I couldn't stop laughing.
I couldn't stop laughing either because I thought I was being a bit daft.
But no, I think
The lyrics of the songs were making us laugh.
Yeah.
Because I believe, yes, I
We
believe.
sing it all the time.
Shake your derriere, that's right.
Yeah, Shake Your Derriere.
Someone wrote that. Someone went, this is going to be a really good lyric.
Shake Your Derriere. Just didn't want to swear.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, just stuff like that. I like how this come out, how the car broke down, because we went over and over how to do this. You know, because we couldn't shoot him while he was actually driving and things like that. This come out really well. Smoke machine worked.
And the thing about the car breakdown is we did that without spending any more money. Like, you know, we could have put some money into like a car shooting rig, or, you know, maybe renting a trailer, or even like you see the whole thing about people going past the lights and stuff, or maybe renting a much bigger, darker space. But I think it worked for the fact that we didn't spend any more cash at all.
Yeah. I mean, we spent £100 on this.
I like this shot. It was one of my favourite shots because it stays there while I'm still acting around the corner of the bonnet, and I move around, and it's just I think it's pretty cool. It doesn't need films don't need a choppy, changey.
Yeah. Well, that's what we thought, and I mean, I think the way, we just have to go right. You need to come round here, and you'd be sitting in the car delivering this line, and that's all it needs. Like you don't. That's all your coverage.
When we were like test shooting and stuff, we thought about, you know, maybe doing like an orbit around and stopping in, and it was just like, Well, no, we don't literally need to see his feet walking in and stepping in and seeing the handle. And it's like, we know someone's walking into a car.
You hear what's going on.
You're just patronising the viewer when you're going, now he's walking to the car.
Like, shooting wise, there's actually not a lot of shots. When we were planning this, I was like, there's not a lot of shots to do, and I kind of like that. You get your coverage in all these different angles, and the delivery, it's like, it's what it's all about, like this. It's when you look up
for the actor when there's not many cuts to do, because I'm doing it once or twice, maybe 3 times. I've done scenes where I'm pouring out all my emotions, but I've had to do it 15 or 20 times, and it's tougher. Obviously, this is a completely different thing, but because it's a comedy, when you're saying a joke, you say it once and people are laughing, but when you have to do it 7 or 8 times, people are not laughing anymore. People find it irritating. Obviously, the audience don't see that, but you do, and it might affect you the way they deliver the line.
No, I don't like doing many takes, really. I don't think we ever have on most of the stuff we've done.
But that's another thing, is we have the privilege of we've never worked with bad actors. We've never had to do loads of takes. We just have the privilege of working with people who are incredibly talented.
Yeah. And it helps that you know them as well, which is always helps. So hopefully more.
Just luck. We worked together on the first thing we worked on was the birthday party, but we did Fighter.
We did the Fighter, then we did the birthday party, and we didn't do too many takes on that as well, I don't think.
Well, the birthday party was a little different because we had the long tracking shot here, didn't it? And I tested your filmmaking ability.
It's good. Enjoy it. It was exactly there. Oh, goes back to us.
The opportunity came about because I was about to finish one film, and I was thinking, I've quit work to finish this film. What do I do when this film's finished? So then I needed to figure out something else, and
it's kind of we just carry on. I think with the FilmLook, it's going to help. We want to do the next one and then plan on 3 for next year. So
as long as we keep it fresh, because obviously for the audience sometimes they're thinking, you're just using the same actors all the time. But if we keep it fresh and the actors just change, have a different character all the time, what difference is that going to make?
We've got loads of different films that we do. Every film that we make's been different so far, which has been great. And I think the characters within that are all different. And I think we just want to try different genres. I just think let's just make a bunch, and then
it's just like a practice, isn't it? It's like, let's try this sport, let's try this.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, and that's all we're not trying to pretend that we're superstars. No. Like, we're not superstars in the acting world, we're not superstars of like the filmmaking world. We're just practicing, we want to do the best jobs we can. We want to learn, that's all. That's all it is.
And then when we get to that project where we go, right, this is it, this is the one that we want to, bigger, better, if it's a feature film. We've had this practice together, we've got the right people together, and it's going to be a better film.
I mean, like, before this film, we didn't know how to shoot something that had a little Spielberg-esque, smoke trails, things like that. We had no idea how to shoot at night. But now we've got that, and that's in our inventory for the next one. So, I mean, like they say, everything's a learning process.
The best is yet to come.
'Cause I believe, yes, I believe the best is yet to come.
Yes, I believe.
Anything I put my mind to. When life gets hard, it is clear to see the best is yet to come.
I think a few people have dropped out at that point. Oh, God.
Right, let's run the credits. We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching season 3. And especially this episode, Rap Party. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, fax, all of that stuff.
Where can they find you?
Same places.
At Lee Manders.
Just put all my details on the bottom of it.
Alright,
Yeah, if you want to get in contact with Liam, maybe for some acting stuff, maybe for just a coffee, we've got his stuff in the description, so it'll be down below.
I'm not meeting people for coffees.
If you pay, he'll be there.
Right. I've been Robert Carr.
I mean, Richard Scott.
And I've been Richard Liam Angus.
Thank you for watching. Do we wave?
I'm not waving.
No?
No.
Okay. Bye.